You're tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. And now, here are your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. Oh, baby. What's going on, racers? I'm Terry Bridges, your horsepower and performance broadcaster. And we got another edition of the Northwest Race Report. I want to say the original Northwest Race Report. Because we get it done. We're the original show. We're getting it. We're working it. I got my great co-hosts here this week. Back from illness, Mr. Jeff Eden. And my main man, the one and only Glenn Lippy Tower. What's going on, Lip?
Hey, it's all good in the hood tonight.
Absolutely. What's up, Jeffrey?
Feeling a lot better.
Yeah, you were really under the weather there.
Little bronchitis.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
but we're good now.
That's not fun.
He looked green last week.
So how green? He's like a Martian. So how's everybody's week been?
Busy.
Is it?
Very busy.
Yeah, I don't even want to comment on that one.
Well, I'm going to let you call it. Let's see. Who is P1 tonight?
Dan Watkins pulls in at P1. First time on the podium in our chase here. And Scott Keeney, fresh out of surgery, pulls in second. And Sean Carr, third. Rick Worley comes in fourth. And Mr. Jerry Bonfera pulls in on 5.
Man, Scott Warning checking in. Good to have Scott on. Dave Chizzy. Man, you saw my post, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I gave for Chizzy. I mean, it's the truth. I would take that guy on my team any day, right?
He is a hell of a hard worker.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So he's we appreciate you, Dave Chisholm. There's no doubt about it, man.
The whole sport appreciates.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Matt Strebe in the house. Justin Beard. Where has that guy been?
Oh, he's coming. Don't worry. I know. He's coming.
Wow. And, big shout out to Scott Keeney. I hope, we all hope here at the Northwest Race Report you're feeling better, Scott. I think he had appendicitis or...
I believe so.
So he had an emergency operation, which, that's never any fun. I mean, even when you plan for it, it's no fun. But, I mean, especially when you don't really have a choice, so... hey, before we get started, I want to say, number one, I want to thank all the great sponsors, especially BLG, Blue Line Graphics, because you need to get ahead, you need to look good, and you need to stand out this summer with Blue Line Graphics. BLG is taking the track by storm, one kick-butt design at a time, and we would not be here without those good folks. And then I wanted to bring to your attention, I don't know if you saw this, Lip, on Facebook, but you guys can go, if you're a kart shop, if you're I'm sure even I'm sure they would prefer, it's a karting race directory, and it's a business directory. You go to kartpulse.com. It's totally free, and if you go to their Facebook page, right there on the front, you'll see it. It'll say Karting Business Directory. It's a free service they've been doing for karting. And like I say, it's free. And if you follow the links that they have set up there, you can go and fill that out. And it'll get your business up on there. And so that's kind of it's free. So
yeah, and a hell of a deal. I seen you sent me that the other night, and I was drunk on tire prep, so I only had one eye that I could focus, because now that I have tire prep and a hot box, I was a little overwhelmed.
Yeah,
the beer didn't help, but
I just thought it was cool.
Definitely a good deal.
Good folks at Kart Pulse, so get over there, get your business up on there, and
get recognized. Let people find you.
Exactly.
We all should be using that for a source. It's kind of like Angie's List if you're looking for a contractor, or the Better Business Bureau, whatever you want to call it. But it's a great service, so get over there and use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, what else is going on? I guess we need to give a shout out. I did a deal because I didn't know any better, but I did a deal that congratulated Wes Snow and Alan Lane, who are the new UAS administrators.
Right.
Allen Lane is the Central New York region, and I guess that's a new region. And of course, west is Tennessee. But I didn't know Scott Boley is the SoCal UAS administrator now. They're back.
Nice.
So after a bit of a hiatus, SoCal is back in the house, and Jason Mayo is the assistant UAS director now or administrator now for Texas.
Wow.
So big shout out to all those guys. Those are good people to have in those spots for sure.
Anybody that's willing to get involved and make the effort, we are extremely thankful for sure. I mean, that's what is lacking in our sport today. We have plenty of racers. We don't have plenty of administrators or people that want to get involved. So anytime somebody gets involved like that, it's a huge deal. And thank you very much for everybody that's making the sacrifice, because it is a sacrifice.
Yeah. For sure, it is.
Yes.
I mean, it is. People don't get. They just think. We were talking about the drag race. Jeff was telling some of his stories last week, right? Or not week before, but people don't get it. It is a sacrifice.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can speak to that. I mean, our race at ORV is coming up this weekend, and I have been down there in the last 8 days, working on the track, the facilities, and getting everything put together. It's just, that's what it is. It's a commitment, and it's the only way it happens.
Right. So see, you're on the one end, and then Jeff, you were on the other end, right? You were a volunteer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I many years at Woodburn Drag Strip.
Right, but I mean, it's
Yeah. Thank you.
That's it. So let that be. We always try to recognize them, and we probably don't do enough, right? For those that do it. I mean, corner workers, stuff like that, we're begging, right? Even at the racetrack, we're going, hey, and then it gets to be where you got to say, all right, listen, you are corner worker, otherwise we're not going, right?
Yeah, we just have to say we're not going out with this next group until we get somebody to do it.
Right. So maybe it's one of those deals where hopefully one of the classes will just say, hey, we'll go out, we'll pick 4 guys, and we'll go corner work for a heat race or 2, and that's the way it should be.
They did it at the RC track. I raced RC cars here in town and when you got off the track, you turned around and you went back and cornered.
That's the way it should be.
Then when you're done, when you get done with your corner deal, then you can go work on your RC car.
I think that's kind of, something that should be happening that isn't happening. And I know it happens in quarter midgets a lot, and it really curves people that are chronic complainers and things like that. When you actually make them go out and do other people's jobs, they become a little bit more respectful of that job and of what those people do. So I think I should make it mandatory that each participant definitely does have to pick a position and volunteer for a little while, because
you can vouch for that. I mean, it's like being a referee, right?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly.
I screamed and hollered at those guys. I was the worst until I became one, and then it was like, oh baby, this isn't
easy.
This isn't quite as easy as I thought it was. Yeah, they weren't, and actually they weren't missing too much. So I mean, yeah, it's a good deal. So lots of good stuff coming up on the show tonight. We're going to talk about, what do we got? We got some results from the Can-Am. We got some results from back east there, from Dogwood. We got some upcoming events, some cool ones, coming up. And then we're going to talk about, I know we got Lapping with Lip. We got At the Track with Jeff. And then, but we're going to talk about kind of, is Pasanante the fastest? I guess we could just do that right now really quick. Is Pasanante really the fastest KT on the West Coast?
I think he's very dominant in our area, i.e. Washington and Oregon. I personally haven't made it down to California, so I don't know about the racers down there. And I think Shane Smith brought up a great subject earlier in the week on one of the forums I was following about Arizona, because their Yamaha class down there that happens during the Classic is a very stout field, and I have not been to that. It is definitely on my bucket list. I would love to go this year. But as far as Oregon and Washington goes, I think Passanetti is definitely hands down got his program together. He's the man to beat, definitely.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and I'm sure he's probably sorry he even ever made that statement, right? Because we've been wearing it out. But I mean, I guess it's too bad with that Burris series and everything. It would be cool to maybe have. Maybe that's something that's warranted as a big KT deal where they pick a neutral site or whatever and see who is the baddest on the West Coast.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's enough interest in the class still, especially in our area as far as the KTs go. Shane's doing a great job of promoting the class, and he's moving it all around Albany, ORV, Rainier, and then we're going to be at Spokane. And I've never raced at Spokane either, so it's going to be a lot of fun to get over there, and hopefully there's a decent turnout and people show up for that race as well, because that's what we need is somebody that wants to promote it, pushes it to the different tracks, and gets everybody to show up. So
yeah, and then later in the show we're going to talk about is racing kind of losing its pizzazz. I had a great this all came about. I had a great conversation with Scott Warning the other night, and we got to talking about it, and he brought up some interesting stuff. So later on in the show we'll talk about that. But the cool thing is our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest is a guy that I've been trying to get on for a while now. He's a motor builder for Ryan Diotti, and his name is Steven Gleason. He does the PK 250s, so it's going to be pretty cool to find out what makes the Hitman tick, because I know he builds more than just Diotti's, but that's really all I know. So we'll get to find out about him and some cool stuff. And Jeff, what you got on your segment? You guys got a bunch of results from.
Well, we got a few results.
Well, you know what, man? But let's get into it, and we'll get into our Winner's Circle Wednesday. And our Winner's Circle Wednesday, as always, is brought to you by the good folks at Wicked Fabrication, Auburn, Washington. Wicked Fab, since 2002, they've been doing the best in hot rod fabrication there is. So when you think hot rods, think Wicked Fab. They're on Facebook, Wicked Fab, or you can find them on the web, www.wickedfab.com. What do you got, Jeffrey?
Well, let's see here. Elma and Skagit, St. Helens, and South Sound. Mother Nature won them races.
I like that.
I got to say, let me interrupt you just for a second. I went to Grace Harbor. I had never been there before. Dude, that place that's one of the cleanest and well laid out facilities I think I've ever been to.
Well, you can thank Fred Brownfield for all of that. That was Fred's vision before he got killed down there. Was when he put that track together, it was supposed to be the greatest thing on the West Coast. And believe me, I think it is.
It is. I mean, I get this, Lip. So I walk in there, and I got to meet Bert Johnson. Great guy. I really liked him. We chatted for probably 45 minutes. But man, he shows me up there, and you go up into the booth there, and there's a door, and it's like, what? He goes, yeah. I go, you mean this is where? He goes, yeah, this is where. So the announcer's got his own room, and it is just, I mean, for me, I was just tickled silly, right? Because I'm usually off in the corner or wherever there's some vacant room, right? Right by the outhouse, whatever.
Yeah, the backstretch.
Yeah. And walk in there, and I mean, and then there's a window into scoring, because scoring's right the next one. I mean, and then there's a angled table there that you can sit on the stool, and you've got this view of the racetrack that's just, I mean, it's
second to none.
Dude, I was in heaven. I was like, dude, this is so sweet.
Are you sure we can't race? I'm ready.
I know, man. I took pictures of it, and I came home and just salivated for a few hours. It was, but I mean, I was just knocked cold at how flipping nice it is. I mean, you go to the cans, and even you even get near a bathroom at most racetracks, and it's like, holy cow, right? But this one is, dude, it's dialed.
Yeah, and if something's wrong, they walk out, they tell the gal at the concession, and somebody goes in and fixes it. It's taken care of right now. They don't mess around with it.
Yeah, I guess their food is outstanding. He said that they did a thing on their fried chicken or whatever they got, and he says that it took a while because they tried different oils and all kinds of stuff until they found one that just made it. I mean, so wow, I was blown away. Yeah, it's and it's a big racetrack. I mean,
yes, it is.
It's bigger than the guy thinks. I mean, I was just like, wow. And I think he said it was 3/8 on the inside. So he said it's probably just shy of a half on the outside if you got up that far. But yeah, it was super nice. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. That's where I live at most Saturdays. So Cottage Grove did get a race in. They had wingless sprints down there, and Cooper Devins won it. The mods went to Mark Waggy out of Medford. The sport mods went to Jordan Brashton, which says his name's popped up about 3 or 4 times this year already. And the Hornets went to Joe Markle. And
you said Desbians won the
wingless.
Yeah, I think that was 2 for 2 for him. If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it is. And then at Sunset, they had a ton of cars there. They had like 35 dwarf cars showed up. They had 25 4Bs, which is the 4-cylinder cars. The 4Bs was won by Tyler Owen. The B mods was won by Mike Graham. Pure stock was Trevor Labarge, and the dwarf cars was Marty Holmanson. And one of the friends of mine that used to run modifieds this last year, he just was tired of having to fix his car every week, so he bought one of them dwarf cars. And so I texted him the other day. He says, well, how you like your dwarf car? He says, it's a lot of fun. It's not a modified, but it's going to be a lot cheaper.
That, but actually that Hornet stuff is it's big stuff. I mean, it's
well, they've even got a race later on this year where actually there's 2 races where they have actually gotten together with River City, which is St. Helens, and they're going to race against. It's like a track race against each other. So they're going to.
Oh, that's fun.
There'll be a bunch of cars there for that. Willamette did get in some heat races and trophy dashes, but I didn't put it down because they didn't have their mains. That's when.
Yeah.
Coming up this weekend, folks, if you want to go to any races at all, this weekends are going to be great. The fireworks shows are going to be at Skagit and at Elma both. Skagit's running 360 sprint cars. It's their John Carroll Memorial race. And there'll be a lot of cars there. Elma's running wingless sprints, modifieds. And then at Sunset's having a 2-day race, which is they're running late models, modifieds. They're basically their whole show, plus the 600 sprints, the mini sprints.
Mm-hmm.
Cottage Grove. Anybody who wants to see a sprint car race, believe me, this is one you want to see. It's the Marvin Smith Memorial. It's $4,001 to win. And up until 2 years ago, it was pretty much a Roger Crockett benefit race because Roger won all of them. And now it's last year, Henry Van Dam won it.
Yeah, he's been killing it.
Henry can roll it. So, yeah. And then Willamette's got the big rigs will be at Willamette. I'm sure they're waiting to get back on dirt after last weekend. They ran at Monroe.
On the pavement,
the pavement, and it was partly raining and partly... He said my buddy said it was pretty exciting. Rick said that things...
Well, and we'll have to see if Dustin Smith can back it up because he won it at Evergreen. Dave Barr and Tom Rayton, 2nd and 3rd. So we'll have to see what happens there. That'll be interesting.
And then South Sound is running for 2 days.
Yeah, they got is that the double 50-lap late model?
That was the one last week that was
called.
The week before.
Oh, okay.
Where I had the two names together, and he said, "Oh, it must have been a 2-day race." He won both segments.
I see.
Got it.
But they're running late models, the mini stocks, the hobby stocks, bumblebees, and the MWRA midgets. And then Sunday is everything but the midgets. So
Sweet.
there's a lot of racing this weekend. Madras isn't racing. St. Helens isn't racing. Other than that, the only thing I got's a sad story, but we can work that in a little later.
We can, yeah, for sure. And you're gonna come by ORV this weekend, right? And check things out a little bit.
Well, yes, sir.
Yeah. we might have to see if we can prod Lip into getting you in one of them, maybe one of the 4-strokers or something.
If they got me in, I hope they got a crane to get me out.
Well, you're a former cage cupper, aren't you, or cage carter?
I ran cage cart for 4 years.
Yeah, so you know how to get around there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you did it with some finesse, though. You know, you just didn't plow your way. Sometimes it gets a little.
We had a really good group of guys. We didn't beat on each other too bad.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what do I got? I got let's see. They floated in over east, Tri-Cities, Horn Rapids, and the Can-Am came in there. That's the big, kind of the that's the national level, I guess, national level region deal that comes in every year. And they have, I think they've cut down to only like 4 races this year. There used to be 8, and then it went to like 5 or 6 last year, and then now it's down to 4. And okay, I got a question for you, Lip. Who won S2 Shifter?
Who won S2 Shifter?
His dad builds hot rods.
Oh, so Wick won
Both days.
No, God,
Dude, and he by the looks of things, he had him covered.
Well,
like covered.
You can't beat Collins' horsepower.
Nope. So any of you guys that say Hondas aren't runners, I got a few guys that they're ICC guys, and they say, well, there was an ICC here with a pretty good wheel behind it by the name of Andrew Wilson, and wasn't even close. So he won the 125 Open. Wick wins the S2. Rotex Jr. went to on day 2. It went to a guy by the name of Matt Taskinen. Edward Porch was second. Mason Buck was third. Mason Buck would win Junior for the first time on the second day. I take that back. He wins the first day. Second day, he was third. So Mason Buck picks up a big win. That's a huge win. That's on a CMC Swiss Hutless too, by the way. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Good for CMC.
Heck yeah. Carson Coons won 206 Junior. Austin Torgerson was second. Mason Buck was third in that. Kaysen Lau was 5th, and Hunter Stanley was 6th. So Hunter Stanley's a big story. He's a motorcycle guy, really a good one. This kid is pretty good on 2 wheels. And, everybody's saying what a driver he's going to be here. And he is. But, also the talk is sometimes that junior class is a little on the soft side, right? So we're going to see what happens now that he's up in junior. That's going to be the real Rotex. I mean, that'll be the real test, when he's up. He's running against, he was 6th, bad day. I mean, things happen. But Hunter Stanley, you're going to hear some things from him, I do believe. But 206 senior, Kyle Wick won that. Spencer Coons, Brady Ager. The Agers, they ran somewhere other than Pat's Acres.
Wow,
I know, right? 206 Masters went to Tim Doyen. That was on day 2. Brian Green second. Let's see here. Rotex Masters. It went to Billy Cleveland. Michael Groff second. Jerry Pitts. That's on day 2. Micromax, Ashton Torgerson. And he won it. Minimax went to Jonathan Ports, Josh Pearson, and Ryan Dazell. So Josh Pearson is Aaron Nellison's little protege. Colton McCann wins senior both days, so that's pretty powerful stuff there. Let's see here, and I think I got all that there. Can-Am. I think I had the second day here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. This was day one. Rotex Jr. went to Mason Buck. Ports was second. Taskin third. 206 Jr. went to Austin Torgerson. Mason Buck second. Carson Coons third. So they just kind of did a reversal on each day. Wick won 206 Senior 2 days in a row. Brian Green won 206 Masters. Doug Taylor second. Tim Doyen third. Tag went to Andrew Wilson. Chris Eagles. Let's see, Rotex Masters. Billy Cleveland, Jerry Pitts, and Michael Groff on day one. Micromax, Ashton Torgerson, Sean Kozma, Isabella Jaime, and Graham Trammell. He moved up to he was the youngest. He's racing against 10 and 11-year-olds, and he's only, 6?
He is doing well.
Yeah, he is doing awesome. So that was the Can-Am, so that's pretty good stuff. For those of you that are following the big Speed 51 deal, they had the prelude to the 51. Tanner Thorson won that. Jesse Caldwell. Jet Hayes was third. Tanner Gray fourth. Colby Copeland fifth. Rico Abreu and Kyle Larson were 14th and 15th in that deal. So there's some boys can roll those things.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So
definitely.
I don't know what was going on today. I know Bryson James was right up there. He got second in the heat. So yeah, he did a slide job on R.J. Johnson there at the end. R.J.'s doing pretty good too. So that's good news. Our boy Johnny Burke, he said he qualified 40th.
Tough field.
Yeah. He said they had wrong gear on it and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, man, you drive 2,000 miles and you better make sure that gear is close. You know what I mean? I mean, geez, come on. So, but hopefully he gets in. He says they got a gear, and so they're going to go to work on it. And let's see, Strebe Speedway, the Relevant Rakings Cup. Do you know about Strebe Speedway?
Just from what you guys have told me and what
Yeah, I'm going to be there on the 4th calling that race. So, I mean, if you're free or you don't have a big commitment there, you should come because I think it's going to be kind of cool.
It'd be very interesting.
Yeah, for real. Clint Mines won the B main. Harry Shaler was second. Jeff Berry third. The A main went to Matt Handley.
Yeah,
isn't that cool? I was happy for him. Alan Terrell second. Jeff Berry third. Mike Strebe fourth. Ryan Culley, Rick Sears, Riley Hood. Who is this guy? I've seen him around all over the place, but Nick Hall. And Caleb Hart was 9th.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Do you know Caleb pretty good?
No, but just through you.
Okay. I've never met Caleb. I just know his dad fairly well. Hart Charger went to Jeff Berry. He came up. I think he started deep in the field, 7th or something. Came up to 3rd. So congratulations to that. Let's see. Kyle Zimmerman wins the KT 100 down in Arizona. The UAS show down there. The UAS event went to Pete Gresh Sr., Outlaw Intermediate, Caden Williams, Outlaw 500, Chris Beal, Outlaw 206, Tanner Covey. Outlaw Clone went to Tyler High, and Outlaw Beginner went to Taylor Aragon. That was down at the Unlimited All-Star Show down in Arizona. Joe Torres and those guys there. And my last one here looks like is Dogwood Speedway. The Snowman unveils the machine. Did you watch the clip of that?
Yeah.
Did that thing leave on the restarts?
Wow, yeah. It moved right out.
Wasn't it impressive? I mean, good night. So West Snow wins it. William Anderson 2nd. Houston Black 3rd. Buddy Anderson 4th. Terry Hollyfield 5th. And Mitch G.A. Youngblood was 6th. So... so West Snow was getting her done. I guess that thing was it flew in the video. I mean, it was like wowee.
Yeah, it's all about that body he's got, I'm sure. So
it's a lot of it. I hear Tim Chase has got one coming. So yeah, we're about to find out. Isn't that? I think it's great though. It's something other than tires.
Well, yeah, it's innovative, and it's from a Carter who built it for a purpose, and that was to go faster, and it's working out. So, hats off to Wes. He's spent an awful lot of time with his business that he started and got off the ground, and now it's starting to thrive, and his products are working. So, it's a great deal. I'm glad to see it. I'm very happy for him. He's a very spiritual man, and I'm proud of him. He's doing a great job out there and making his mark.
Yeah, he is doing a super great job. It's 7:00. I know I was probably supposed to send him a reminder, but so Lip, I'll give it to you for just a second while I try to round this up.
So anybody that's going to be heading out to ORV this weekend, come on out and pick your spot. It's first come, first serve on the pits. So the earlier you get there, the better pit spot you got. We are trying to change some directions in our pits to create some more parking. So when you get there, you might be met by somebody that points you in the direction of a pit stall. So bear with us on that. We're just trying to make more room and make things more feasible and usable down there. So pack patience, and it's an all-new crew this year. I am very, 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 did I say very short-handed this year? I lost my good help last year. So I'm trying to fill positions, and I'm only about halfway there. So if you know somebody that's willing to put in some work for absolutely no reward at all, and you're probably going to get it yelled at, come on down and see me, because I can put you to work.
Yelled at. Nice guy.
Yeah. I'm not going to yell at you, believe me. I'll just thank you. But, it is a thankless job that we do down there, and we're all volunteer crews. So anybody that wants to help out, I hope I didn't discourage you, but we would really appreciate it. We're very thin this year, and we need all the help we can get to make this whole deal happen. I've been working my tail off. The track's been looking pretty good. I had a real good handle on it, and then somebody got into the track over the weekend with quads and motorbikes and just tore it
You're kidding me.
So I had to start from scratch this morning. Luckily, I panicked and got drag Scott McDowell down there with me, and Wayne Thompson, and we got another handle back on it today after spending most of my day down there. But it's looking real good. We're working on mowing right now again.
Oh, hang on. We got JB calling in.
We burned in 3 mowers so far.
Johnny Burke, is that you, my man? Oh, hey, hang on just a second. I'm kind of behind the 8 ball here. Hang on. Our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guests tonight. One of them is our main man, Johnny Burke. Hang on, my cord's screwed up.
He is going to be bringing us some results from back east as soon as we get our phone plugged in. But thank you to Mr. Burke for taking the time out of his day to call us up and let us know what's going on.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, right on, man. You're in there. Johnny Burke, what's going on, man?
Hey, had a lot better racing days.
What happened?
We've just struggled. It's been one of those weekends. Look back at Cage Cup and go, man, I'm glad we had that weekend there.
Wow.
Qualified not so good yesterday, and today was in the spot to go to the show and the heat race.
Oh, hey, JB, I got to put you on. Can you call me back in 15?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call us back. Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Okay.
JB.
Bye.
Oh, Stephen Gleason, is that you, my man? Are you there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, man, you're here. Hey, our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest tonight. I'm looking forward to talking to this guy. His name is Stephen Gleason. BLG customers love the unique and durable, great-looking race graphics they create. Vehicle wraps, graphic kits, logos, and more. Check them out on the web at www.blg.blue. Man, this guy is the master. He is Dr. Stephen Gleason. He's the doctor of the PK 250. What is going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Hey, well, what's going on? So, what you been talking about?
Well, we've been talking a little bit about, we haven't really talked about anything motor-wise yet. We were,
Okay.
I'm just looking forward to finding out a little bit more about you. What's your background? Have you always been karting, or has it been big cars, or where did it all kind of start?
Well, I started karting when I was a kid, and right now I work on a NASCAR team. I work in on a NASCAR team. I've been in NASCAR full time since 1993.
Oh man! So what team do you work for?
Working on the cars. I work at BK Racing right now.
Okay. Are they an actual Cup team then?
Yeah. David Reagan and Matt DiBenedetto drive for us.
Oh, cool.
2 cars.
Cool.
All the races.
That's awesome. And you've been doing that since '93? You've been involved in NASCAR?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So how is that? Is that a whole completely different deal than what we're probably used to?
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. You add a lot of zeros to the end of the numbers that you probably spend in karting.
For sure.
It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a 7-day-a-week job. It keeps you busy.
Now, are any of them zeros on your paycheck?
I wish.
So I guess what everybody's really dying to know, I know I am, is where'd the PK 250 come from? Was this a dream of yours, or how did it come?
Yeah. This is what happened. I was, racing Unlimited All Stars, and I had a K35 Saddam, like everybody did back then. And I'm a bigger guy. I probably, I played football in college. So I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'1", I weigh about 230. So I was never able to make, weight.
Yep.
So, talking with Chris C. and a bunch of them guys, because I'm good friends with all them. I was never able to make weight, so I tried conning him into helping me because he has a machine shop. So I had this big idea, and I tried to con him into it, but he would never bite. So I ended up calling a childhood friend of mine that has a kart shop in Connecticut, and he also had a machine shop. His name was Rory West, and he bit. I had this whole concept. I had it all drawn out. I had it all drawn out on paper, how I wanted it to build. I just needed somebody with a CNC machine, and he took the bait, and he's become my partner in this whole thing. We came up with the PK 250 concept, and we originally built it as a super, super reliable motor. We ran it on gas. It was kind of, for the guys that couldn't make weight, make it real reliable where they could just worry about working on tires in their car and never have to worry about the motor. So, the original ones were built like that. And actually, the one that Ryan Diotti raced most of the time is one of those motors. It was just a mild, very mild version of a 2-cycle motor, nothing special with it. And
So you're saying that Diotti doesn't even have one of the real hot rod motors yet?
he's got, well, he does now.
Oh, okay.
But the original one he was racing, the one he has now is it's about 75% of a true race motor, but it's still, because we're still building them reliable, but it takes us a lot of time because we all have full-time jobs and everything. We don't do this for a living.
Right.
It's a hobby.
Right.
That we've been doing all our R&D. It takes a long time because we have to get together and put our heads together and do it. And luckily for me, I've got a lot of good people that I know working in NASCAR. I know a lot of people that are working, and when I was doing this whole thing, I always had a good people to fall back on, great motor people,
right,
that work in the motor shops here to help me, and it's all paid out. we've never had a real failure on anything. Never really blew one up without doing something. A couple of people have done, just not paying attention.
Right.
That's about the only thing that's ever happened to them, but they've always been easy fixes.
Right. So now, about how many motors are you? I mean, are you making so many a year, or are you just kind of taking in the ones that need to have a rebuild, or what are you doing?
Well, to tell you the truth, I have a hard time getting them to send them back to get them rebuilt.
Well, that might be a good thing in a way.
I know. Most people have got like between 20 and 30 races on them, and I got to call them up and say, we really need to look at the piston in that thing, So I bet you we've only got there's only 14 of those in existence.
Wow.
There's only 14 motors.
So they're basically a custom built motor, right? So if we called and said we wanted one, then you would say, yeah, okay, but you're going to be looking at X amount of time and.
Yeah, probably. Usually when somebody calls up, usually it's a month and a half before I could get one to them.
Well, that's really not that bad.
Everything's most of the parts it's all custom made. With the blocks are all custom made, and the cranks.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Work in them.
Yeah, absolutely. But they are runners. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, they run good.
Yes, they do. They
run good, and they're every year we make them a little bit better.
That's awesome, man.
That's all good.
So your dream has basically come true then. Would you like to get more of them out there? Is that would that make?
Yeah.
So do you have?
I mean,
do you have plans on making them with more?
People ask for them. We don't advertise super hard.
Right.
Most of it's word of mouth as people see them. The hard part is with the Unlimited All-Star. It's it's a small group of people. You think it's big, but there's probably what, a total of 80 people.
80 to 100.
All over the country. You think there's more than that? I don't know. There's not really.
Well, I would hope that there's more than 100.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't. Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's probably fewer than.
They have these big races, and the most. There's. Have you ever seen any more than
maybe 60? Yeah. No.
In one, have you ever seen how many? Most you've ever seen in one spot?
45 is the most I've seen in one spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, there's definitely a lot more out there.
It's still really a small group of people.
They're just spread out. That's the biggest problem. Is they're spread out all over the United States, so it's tough for everybody to get to one spot to really hammer one out. So with your package, the PK 250, are you you already got stuff on the back burner to go bigger, or are you still just trying to get what you can get out of this package?
Well, we since they changed the rules, we've built a couple 270s and a couple 275s.
Nice.
And Diotti's got one. He's got a 275.
Doesn't
he likes the 250 one a little bit better because of the weight break now. Now instead of weighing 430 with the 250, he's only got to weigh 400.
Well, that's a 30 pounds.
Now all of a sudden, the 250 is really desirable.
Yeah, for sure. If you can get to that, if you can get to that weight,
if you can get to it,
Yeah.
Yep. And the 275s that we're building are running really good. Like I said, Diotti's got one. I think the Hills.
Sean Hill, yeah.
Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Hill. They just got some stuff for theirs. They've got. They got 3 motors right now, so they're probably one of the biggest customers we got. They run really good. And,
he's winning quite a bit.
Yeah, and then we've been doing some conversions. I built some top ends to go on people's existing bottom ends. I got one new guy that just came in, Jason Anderson from Tennessee. he had an existing bottom end that we did a top end for, and hopefully this winter we're going to switch him over to one of our bottom ends.
Oh, nice.
Pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm sure your bottom ends are way better than what's out there on the market. So, with your motor packages, are you a full service shop? Do you build your own pipes too? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, we have our own pipes. I have a guy that I known from back. I raced snowmobiles too when I was a
Okay.
kid, and I had a guy, and I had some, so I got some connections there. So one of the guys I knew from that builds a lot of snowmobile stuff. He's got pro stock drag snowmobile sleds, and he's really good, and he builds all the pipes for me.
That's a huge part of the program. There's a lot to be
you,
made in there.
That's got to be the most money I've ever spent on anything, was just doing the R&D on these pipes
Well,
for this motor. That's crazy.
there's a lot of
Crazy
power
amount
in the
of money.
pipe, so that's why I was getting at that. So that's great that you got somebody that's willing to work with you, and you don't have to just deal with something out of the box. That's huge, because when they understand what you're doing and know what you're doing, it really equates to a harmony with the pipe and the motor combination. So man, that's great, especially the fact that he's spent some time on the snowmobiles, because that's another tricky animal right there all in itself. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a question for you. Since you've been a part of the UAS and whatever. I mean, we sit here and we talk all the time about, especially now with the 450s and all the, all the big stuff that's going out there now. I mean, could you see the UAS really being a premier and a like a stellar class?
Oh yeah, everything's there to do it. All we need is, the management to do it. I mean, somebody's just, right now it's all volunteer. Everything, and there's very little, marketing and anything involved in it. All it really needs is somebody to step up and get some sponsorships for the series, and it could get big. It could get a lot bigger really fast.
Well, let me ask you this question, because with your contacts back there, working in NASCAR stuff, I've always said, what would it hurt to pitch that to NASCAR? See if they couldn't maybe get behind it, and boy, I mean, if you think about it, it would be perpetual motion for them as far as drivers go. They would have, I mean, they could be grooming, they could groom all kinds of people in a class like that. And then it also would be helping the sport too as well. I mean, it's not going to take a huge amount of money. It is going to take some money, but I mean, probably more than the average guy's got. But I mean, still, if you put on 4 or 5 big races a year, that made it worthwhile for these guys to come to. Because these guys, in my opinion, they need to get paid. I mean, you guys are pros, in my book. And don't you think that would be? You think that's something that's feasible, or do you think no way?
Oh yeah, yep. No, I see it, because here in the Southeast, there's a lot of big money go-kart races. A lot of big money go-kart races.
Right, but it's all the clone stuff.
Chris C actually runs one every fall for the UAS style cars that he pays. I think he pays like $5,000 to win, and we have down here just in the stock classes, they have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. We even in Kentucky, there's 100,000 to win go-kart racing. That's crazy,
Wow. Yeah, I was at SEMO and they had a $50,000 one, but man, I didn't hear about the $100K one. That's nuts. But
I think they call it the big one or something.
Oh, the insane one, yeah. Yeah. I was back there for that this year. It was ridiculous, man. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah, but people are calling me all the time asking me that same question, and me and Keith Stark, Michaela's grandfather, we talk about all the time, because he's he was into racing. He was an ex Top Fuel drag driver,
Right.
dragster driver, and he's got a lot of connections too. And since he's retired now, I keep trying to talk him into starting to do that either.
Yeah. So you think it is a
Up
feasible
series or
thing
something.
then? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if you get the right, the right couple people involved, and they promote it the right way, it could go.
Yeah. Well, you need to pitch it to NASCAR.
See, all they care about is people bringing money.
Well, yeah, that
They
maybe.
don't like
It's,
to give money out.
well, I don't know. I mean, well, you get with Tony Stewart, maybe he'd be a guy to pitch it to, and I mean, I just think, because that's all it needs is something there, and then boom, your business goes crazy. And so, what's next for the PK 250?
What's next for it? Now we got to see which way the rules are going. Probably, just working on the package we have.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to, we're slowly but surely, going from, trying to work them more toward pure race motors. Like I said, we started out building them super, super reliable, and, we're probably 65-70%.
Okay. Well, are you going to be at the Grands this year?
Going through and because everything we do, I try to engineer it all out because that's just the way I think.
Right.
So I did it with the blocks, and then we did it with the pipe, and now we're going through the porting, and all that'll be the next thing we start to spend a lot of time on. Probably work on the pipe again once we settle on the different porting, and probably have to change it a little bit for the 270s and 275s.
So
Not much, but you're going to have to change them a little bit.
Right. Well, out of the box, what are those things making, roughly?
On our dyno, which every dyno reads different, they're in the mid-60s, low 70s.
Wow.
Depending on the, but every dyno reads different. I mean,
right.
That's a good number though.
Buller says his makes 80-90 horsepower.
And I've heard that. There's some 450s out there that are claiming the same thing, but I feel that once you hit over the 70 horsepower, it's hard to get that to hook up on any track. So I think if you go right to that and you make them run as good as you can, and then it's up to the racer to get their corner speed to match, I think it's a great combination. But to throw 100 horsepower at something that weighs 430 pounds, I just don't see the tire technology isn't there. The rest of it isn't there to hook that up. So you just got somebody that's squirreling around out there the whole time. So I think that's a great number. That's perfect for me.
I mean, I've dynoed a bunch of motors. I've had a couple, Jawas and 450s and everything, and it seems like everybody's right there. The Jawa and the 450 and our 250s, they're all right there between 65 and 70.
Yep. I agree.
If they're being honest, right? That's the whole thing. Like you said.
We dyno them all on the same dyno.
Same dyno, yeah.
So it's the same number. And they're all, I put 100 horsepower Jawa on there and it made 68. 80, 90 horsepower, 450 on there, it made 68. They're all right there.
Yeah. That's what I mean by the honest part, right? You always exaggerate. Yeah. Racers love to exaggerate, but well, man, that is awesome. Are you going to be at the Grand Nationals this year?
Gonna try to make it. It all depends on how my schedule is. Work because I still have to be at the track on race when we race on Sundays or Saturday nights or whatever.
Well, what are you? Are you a tire guy or are you are you over the wall or what do you do?
I used to be. I was a jackman for 15 years and then I gassed for the last 10, and then right now I just working the engineering department in our shop and just do that.
Wow,
I go on race day and
that's awesome.
sit on top of the box and second guess everybody.
Nice. I like that job.
That's awesome, man. So, what are your thoughts on Ryan Diotti?
Oh, I love him.
He's a great wheelman. Great wheelman.
He took a chance on me and bought the second motor we ever built, and he's been running ever since. You know, so I can't say enough for him.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Everywhere he's been, he's just he's just a quality human being, right? That's the him
and his owner Joe are the super people.
Yeah, they are. They are definitely that. Well, hey man, we got to get out of here. We got to let you go because it's late too. But Stephen Gleason, man, hopefully you'll stay in touch with us, and if anything comes up, you'll get a hold of me, and we'll get you back on the show, and we'll talk about it. And
alrighty,
and
say something nice about me.
Oh, buddy, we're gonna say plenty nice about you. I got your address, so I'll send you your shirt. Okay. Alrighty, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you very much.
No problem.
All right. Take care, Steve. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, bye.
All right, everybody. Stephen Gleason. Yeah, he's you would think
he's a humble man.
He is a humble guy. Yeah, Most engine builders are a little bit more pipey, I guess, so to speak, but
there's greatness in humble.
Yeah. I'm sure he can build them. Man, and it's cool. He works in the engineering department at NASCAR. That's like even sweeter, man.
Yeah.
Good down to earth. Good. That's how it is in racing. When you get right down to it, it's just a great bunch of people, and that's pretty awesome. So hopefully Johnny Burke going to get us back. He may interrupt us calling us because I know he's back there at Millbridge. He's calling back.
Do we want to just call him?
Well, we could. Let me see. We could do that. Yeah.
I kind of feel bad that we snubbed him off like that, but...
Well, we'll see. Let's see here. Maybe he'll snub us off now. But be sure, everybody, if you haven't heard... Oh, Johnny Burke, are you there?
Yes, I am.
We're sorry to snuff you off. We had Stephen Gleason on. He was awesome. So tell us a little bit. What's going on back there at Millbridge?
There's a lot going on right now, Terry. The main's about to roll out. Unfortunately, we won't be a part of it this year. We've had a struggle of a weekend, it seems like. I guess you can't be on your game every weekend, but, this makes me appreciate runs like Topher and Cage Cup after the struggle we've had tonight. I mean, just seemed like one thing after another. So we'll overcome it, and next year we'll be back and try and put this thing in the show.
Well, and I think that also says something too. Not that nothing against you, but I mean, those guys are serious, and if you go down there half gunned or half cocked, you're gonna get it handed to you. I mean, it's not something you go back there just kind of a joyride. That's a planned event that you got to really prepare for. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, this deal was something I've never seen before, and I've been racing go-karts for 12 years, and I've never seen an event where you have that many open cars that close to each other. I mean, everybody literally had a shot to win, whether it was the guy who qualified first or the guy who qualified 79th. We were all within a second of each other. I've never seen anything like that.
Wow.
I mean, most places we go to, like even the showcase last year, it was probably the closest thing I've seen to this event. And we were still I think it was 3 seconds apart between 160 cars. Well, here there's 81, and we're all a second apart. I ran a 10.5 in qualifying. All I would have had to do was be a 10th quicker, and I'd have been up 10 plus spots. That's how close everybody is. And so when you get out there on the track and you get going and you get spread out, nobody catches anybody. Nobody's faster, so there's no passing really. Makes it tough, but, the restarts bundle you up, and then that's where it gets exciting because everybody's trying to pass because you don't have, there ain't much going, you got
no shot to do it, right? You got one shot to get by.
If they get away from you, you're done. and we we struggled qualifying yesterday. I think we missed the gear setup. A lot of stuff happened. And then today in the heat race, started 5th, rolled up into the transfer to go into the show, and rolled back a spot or two, and then had a huge crash coming to take the white, and we got shuffled back at that time to like, I think we were in 5th when that happened, and my muffler fell off because I hit the car and it ripped my muffler off. So restarted 3rd, and it just, I had no pressure going there, and I had no horsepower. It was flat. So stood on the gas, did as best as I could, got under the car in 2nd there, and it just wasn't our night, I guess, And so then we went to the C, started 4th, and slipped back to 5th and missed it by 1 into the B. I mean, that's how tough it is here. It's,
wow.
The talent that was in the C main is in an A main everywhere else in the world I go to. I've never seen quite anything like it. And everybody is so fast. And this place is so different than anywhere else we ever go to.
Is it bigger than Salem?
Yes, it is. It's bigger than Salem. It's about the size of Cycleland, and you race it just like Cycleland. I mean, this place has a curb up there on the wall, and you run the curb. And if you overdo the curb, you wad your car up. I mean, it's a fine line between fast and crashed, and it's insane. I mean, how fast we're going around here. It's a momentum racetrack, really. The more momentum you have, the faster you're going, and it's just crazy. We get starting side by side, and everybody's so close that the only way to pass is to slide job the guy in front of you, or 2 cars or 3 cars in front of you. And it's, you're 3 and 4, 3 wide, going down the straightaway, stuff like that. It's just insane, I've never been to a race that's so tight of a field. Literally anybody could have won tonight. All you had to do, the cards just got to fall right for you, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, they didn't fall right for us this weekend, and we kind of struggled. But I know, now that we know, we've never been here before. So now that we know what we got, I think next year will be a lot better for us.
Well, how many carts are actually back there total then?
There was between 250s, 500s, all that. I think there was like 170.
Wow.
180.
Yeah, because I've seen some Periscope on that back there from the Earnhardt's granddaughter off of Twitter, and that track looked really cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's something else, and it's going to be exciting here. They're about to get going here for the 51 laps. It'll be exciting to watch. And I can learn a lot by watching, but it just sucks we're not going to be out there this year.
Well, hey, man, you've got something to build on for next year for sure. But
yeah, we definitely got a lot to build on. We need to go back home and kind of regroup, get our stuff put back together, and go on down to Chico because we need to be down there racing, get some seat time down there, and see what we can do down there. And then we'll be back next year for sure, I think, to come back to this deal because it's a cool event and it really makes you a better race car driver. This event's something way different than any other event. I couldn't believe it yesterday. You look at the times and there's 79 cars within a second of each other. I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
that's nuts.
So it's all about track position. Where do you start and, how you can go. Most of the guys who won their heat races start on the outside of the front row was the place to start. And then you just drive away from there. And we had to start 5th, and that really wasn't good. We had a bad start and slipped back and then got forward and slipped back again. It was one of those deals, but I don't know where.
Well, like they say, Burke, welcome to the world of real racing.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's how it is. I mean, I think we get kind of resting on our laurels out here, and you got to take it serious. You're like it is. That's right there. You get out of exactly what you put in it. So.
Yeah, and this weekend, the struggle that we've had, it definitely makes me, remember stuff like the Cage Cup where we were so good and Topher, where we, dominated there for a while till the end and stuff like that. It makes you happy for those times, but geez, it sucks, to come all the way over here and, have high hopes going into this deal, because we had a lot of high hopes, knowing how good we have been lately at big events, and we just, we struggled. And everybody, I guess every good streak comes to an end. It just sucks it had to come to an end. So far away from home, it'd be cool, if we're in Medford, okay, yeah, let that one go, we'll move on. But geez, all the way over here, one of the biggest races of the world in the U.S. for go-karts, and it just didn't come together for us. But next year we'll be back, and I think we'll be able to pull something a lot better now that we've seen the track, I think we'll be pretty good.
See, that's the whole thing. Now you've seen it. Now you know what to expect, too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's totally different. Seat time around here is everything, because these guys who are over here, they are good. They know how to run very well around here. They're all fast. Everybody's fast. And it's hard to, compete when everybody's so fast and you have to start, like fifth. That's not the place, I'm sure this A-Main will be crazy intense for 51 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, go watch it, man. We got to get on with the show, but man, we appreciate you calling in, and
anytime.
And we'll get you. We'll have you back on. You're going to be our kind of out in the field reporter. So, thanks for calling in, Johnny Burke. You're the man, buddy.
Sounds good. Thank you, Terry, and I'll be talking to you shortly.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right.
Yep, bye. Johnny Burke.
Wow, stand-up guy.
He has, but he got his bubble burst a little bit. He
I think that's going to happen with any of us West Coasters that dominate here and let the head swell, and you go back to the Midwest or even, God forbid, the East Coast, and you are surely going to get your business handed to you. It's just a total different world back there than we live in out here. You can dominate and run well and live well out here, but it's totally different back there, whether it be the Midwest or the East.
Well, it's just like when we went down to the Duel in the Desert in Vegas. All of a sudden, you're realizing there's 250 modifieds there, and there is the biggest portion of them race 4 and 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
So we race once. So all of a sudden we're going, oh my gosh, and it's a little bit different driving. So it happens.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, and it's a reality check for us out here that become mundane in what we do and do well at our local tracks week in and week out. It's easy to get complacent and feel that you've got this all figured out, and then you go someplace else, or God forbid that far away, you usually end up getting your butt handed to you unless you're Evans or something like that.
Yeah, or Mike Wheeler, or
Yeah, somebody that's been in there, knows it, has the backing to get them where they need to go. But us layman's, we just struggle to get our way through it. So,
man, Scott Boley in the house, the administrator showing up, Derek Wallace here with us, Matt Handley, Dennis Trammell. That's awesome.
Yeah, we got a full house tonight.
Yeah, Tim Chase. This is great. I love it. Just love the support, you guys. It's fantastic. But I guess we got to get lapping with Lippy, don't we? It's been a little bit, so we're gonna go lapping with Lippy.
All right. Thank you very much, Terry. Tonight's Lappin' with Lippy, as always, is brought to you by Scott Seal Coat. For all your asphalt sealing and striping needs, even if you just need it pressure washed, give us a call. We can take care of that. We'll stripe it, seal it, or pressure wash it, whatever you need, whether it's a road, parking lot, or just your driveway. Just give us a call and we can get on it for you. So Scott Seal Coat can make it happen. And thank you to Scott for coming to the track today and helping me drag out that big mess that was down there. So give Scott Seal Coat a call and we'll make it happen. So we are on to our second segment of tires tonight, and I just want to go over a couple of notes from last week because I hope everybody realizes what I'm giving you on this. It is a big deal. We went through talking about stagger and growing tires and picking tires and what you're going to do with them. And I think you should have 3 sets, soft, medium, and hard. You should always get out on your medium set first. That way you can either go up or down in your hardness. Whatever the track's going to do. If you're more advanced in your karting, then you might pick your soft ones and work your way to the hard ones as the night goes on, but it's usually safer to go with a simple set and go with your mediums right off the bat and go from there. But the real point I want to push across one more time before we get started tonight is your left rear is always your hardest tire on the kart. It needs to be 8 to 10 points harder than your right rear. We're always working in counterclockwise on this, so we're going to go from your left rear to your right rear. And your right rear should be 8 to 10 points softer than your left rear. And then we're going to go from your right rear to your right front, and it should be 4 to 6 points softer than your right rear. And then we're going to go from the right front to the left front, and it should be again 4 to 6 points softer on your durometer. This is big, people. If you're coming into the corner and your kart wants to push, you've got everything set up, you've got your staggers good, you've got everything else good, and it still wants to push. You can't get it to turn in the way you want it to. You throw 10 pounds on the nose and boom, there it is. It turns in for you. Well, here's a news flash. Try and make sure that your left rear is 8 to 10 points harder than your right rear, and you can take that 10 pounds off your nose because you're going to be driving off the left rear and not the right rear. So this is a big point. You're going counterclockwise, hardest on the left rear, right rear's a little bit softer, 8 to 10 points. After that, they go 4 to 6 points softer all the way around the kart till you get to the left front. This is big. That's why I keep saying it. If you're really serious about tires, this is what you want to do. Get a durometer, learn how to use it correctly, and do that with your sets of tires, and you will be surprised at how your kart handles by doing that, okay? And we've already went through stagger. I like to have from 1 3/8 in the front to 1 1/2, from 3/4 to 1 inch in the rear is the best stagger for around here. All tracks are different, so you may go up, down, or a little bit there, but that's the best thing. I already went through tire pressures too, and why I run the tire pressures that I run. So just keep that in mind when you're putting your program together and what you're doing out there. So at the track, now that we have our tires and them in sets and everything's dialed in where we want it, we've already grow it or shrunk it, whatever we want to do to make our sets. Then you need to decide which set to start on. Start on that. Typically, tracks are very slimy and low grip during the hot laps. It's always the way it is. We usually water just before you get out there, so it's always that way. It's always slimy. It's always low grip. This lends itself to give your kart a very loose feeling. No matter what you do with tires or anything else, it's not going to make that go away. It's just the track hasn't came to you. It's best to start on your set that you feel you're going to be ending up on or running the most typically that day. That's why I say to start with your medium set, because it is going to be your go-to most of the time. Typically, it will be the medium set. This allows you to be able to go to softer or harder, whatever the track may need out there. You must also read the track as you go through the day. And, this is something that you really need to watch for. It's easy to get involved in your program and not get out there and have a look at the track. But I stress to you to always go out to the track, before each one of your heats and take a look at it. Drag your feet across it. See what the grip feels like. See what the surface is doing. Is it coming apart? Is it still holding together? Is it cracking? Is it not cracking? Does it have moisture? How does it feel under my feet? These are things that you need to be doing to learn what track surfaces are and what you want to choose as far as a tire goes. So, try and do that. Watch other carts as they come off the track in the classes ahead of you. If their tires still have mud on them, then the track isn't coming in yet. It doesn't matter what tire you pick, it's probably not going to be any better than the one you're already on. So do note that if they're coming off with mud on the tires, the track's not in yet. Just go out and make the best of it and try and work on other things other than the handling of the cart, because the track still isn't as good or as fast as it is going to be later, and it usually almost always comes in later. So don't panic and don't start throwing the whole toolbox at your cart trying to get it to handle in a slimy or over moist track. So just get out there, make some laps, and get comfortable. That's the biggest thing you're getting at. If you're going out and the track is still a little slimy, do hesitate on, don't hesitate to drop the tire pressure to help tires hold on to the track. The same is true for a track that's taking rubber or is starting to get more grip on it. It's easier to go up in tire pressure to help the car roll freer. So a half a pound will be plenty. You'll feel the difference either way. So that's something else to keep in mind, is just a quick tire pressure change at a half a pound at a time, depending on the condition. After you come off the track, you're back to your pits. Wash your tires as soon as possible. I talked about this last week. I'm going to talk about it again, because the more I talk about it, the more you think about it, hopefully you'll start doing it. So the reason you're doing this is so that the dirt does not get trapped into the open pores of the tire when it's warm. So let's talk about this just a little bit. So when you're out on the track and we get a good run, say 8 laps, 10 laps, or maybe you can go the whole heat race without a yellow flag, your tires are going to take on heat. The heat's good for a tire. It's what makes a tire work good for you. So once the tire gets heated up, the pores of the tire actually open up, and that's where real good grip comes from, is the tire when it's at its optimum temperature and it's working right for you. But the downside of that is if you come in off the track while it's still hot, you roll through, you go through the scales, you come back, you put it in the pits, you high five your buddies, and you're talking about all the great stuff that happened on the track, and your cart's over there the whole time cooling down. What's happening is those mud and dirt and dust is all getting trapped in the pores of that tire, and that is not going to give you any more help the rest of the day. So you need to get in there. You need to wash it. I like Simple Green. Other people like the washes that come with whatever prep program they've figured out. But that's typically what I do, is go at it with Simple Green and a brush and clean it off. I'll get into that a little bit more down the line here a little bit. We like to take the tires off the cart and wash them. That keeps the water out of the bearings. If it's a busy race day, I don't always do that, but if I can, I will. But at the shop, they always come off. I wash them on the tire stand and dress them on the tire stand, everything else like that. Some people like to use straight water and a sponge to clean them. Like I said, I use Simple Green and a brush on them, because most of the time the clay and the dirt around here won't come off with just a sponge. So I go at it with dirt or with a brush and super clean. I always use a large towel when I'm done to dry the tire off the best I can. I will let it sit after I've done cleaned it and dried it the best I can for at least 5 minutes before I'll do anything to the tire. Then I'll usually come back, look at the tire, read the tire, decide whether I'm going to go up or down on tires. If I'm going to stay with the same thing, then I may wipe some prep on it again. Whenever you're doing that and at the track, you always want to put the prep on the tire and roll it from the right side to the left side, usually doing it with a rag or a sponge. You want to go with a natural grain of the tire to pull your prep on it, because that's the way it's going to wear, is the way that the natural prep runs on the tire. Once you've got all that on there and you've gone ahead and prepped the tire, something when you are looking at a tire to tell how the tire is working for you, the tire will be smooth and it'll kind of feel like felt when you run your hand across it. That's a tire that's working at its optimum. That is, you couldn't get any more out of that tire. This shows the tires are working at their ability. If the tire has been overheated or has been torn, so the surface looks very rough and ragged across the top of it, that's a tire that's too soft. It's gotten chewed up because it is too soft. Now, if the surface is extremely smooth and you can't feel any grip on it, that tire's been way too hot and the tire is actually sealed over, and you're not going to get that tire to come back unless you do some very aggressive stuff, such as grinding off the top layer and getting some prep down in it and leaving it set. Otherwise, you might as well just take that tire off, because it's really not going to come back on that weekend unless you put an absolute lot of time into making it work. Yeah, you really want them to feel like felt. That's the best tire, and that's what's working the best for you. When you're setting up for the next set, you will want to run the same tire pressure. So if I'm going from, we'll say, a 22 to a set of 33s, you're going to want to stay with the same tire pressure throughout, because if you have your tires set up properly, they're going to be the same stagger as the set before that. You're going to want to run the exact same tire pressure. This will keep your spring rate and everything else in the tires and their contact patch the same, so they will basically act just the same way your last tire set did. If you go and change a bunch of stuff, tire pressure, everything else, then everything's going to be different, and it's not going to act the same way, and it's not going to work the same way for you. So stick with the same thing. Whatever tire pressure you're running, do the same thing. When you're prepping the tires for the next race, you must decide which prep you will use when the track, when the racing on the track that is moist is present. So, there's a lot of different things out there that'll drop the durometer. A lot of people like goat pee. A lot of people like the gold stuff. I'm not a big fan of goat pee. It's a different type of prep that I don't like, because it cannibalizes the tire. It pulls the oils out of it that you can't get back into it. So, a lot of people do like goat pee. It's a good fix for the time, but it will greatly depreciate the tire's integrity. So, just be careful what you do choose out there and what you are going to be ending up with. If you're going for a big durometer drop, there's a few other products out there that work pretty well. So do your homework and find out what they are, but use goat pee as a last resort, and don't plan on keeping that set of tires for very long. So wiping, when you're wiping on a coat of prep with a rag, use the same right to left motion as mentioned above. Will give you some added bite for the first 3 to 5 laps. If the track has dried out and is progressing to take rubber, there's several other ones out there that aren't going to be as aggressive. They're not going to drop the durometer on the tire as much, but just promote more grip. So, when you're looking at a program, make sure that it has something in the program that will help that to promote grip and create grip, because that's really what you want. But you don't want to lock the cart down, and that's also easier to do back east than it is out here. I've only experienced that twice out here in my racing history, as far as being able to lock one down, because we usually are fighting for grip, whereas back east everybody else is trying to get rid of grip. Either way, you will want to apply it from right to left before you go out to the grid. Once the track has developed a black groove of the rubber, you'll be finding that you won't want to be using the same prep. You're going to want to be going to something that just maybe helps with the longevity of the tire. This is part of the program that most of the prep guys really like, because it just keeps you buying more and more products from them to keep them happy and keep you busy in the pits. So do be careful with some of that. You don't always need to be rubbing something on your tire. So again, try and educate yourself, decide what program you're going to go with and stick with it. Try and keep it a little bit more simple. You don't always have to be rubbing something on there like they want you to. But it's up to you. It is best applied with a rag, and I've learned this just of late. We used to use paint rollers to apply it with our tires, but the prep program that we've gone with lately, that's way too much product on a tire. So we've gone with the rag or the sponge to wipe it on sparingly, because less is better and more is not better, I've learned. So this doesn't always apply. Softer tires do work better. They don't last as long. And, I prefer to prep a tire that comes in late and lasts longer, rather than prepping a tire that gets me out first and out front first, but wears out towards the end. So when you're putting a program together, try and keep that in mind. You might build a tire that only comes in 5 laps, but will run all the way to the end, rather than prepping a tire that, yes, you will get out front right away and it'll do great, but the more heat you build in it, the longer the green run you get, the hotter the tire gets, the more it goes away, the more it just eats itself up. So try and keep that in mind when you're building a program. I'm running out of time, so this is going to drop it for our second segment, and I'll be back next week for our third.
Right on, Lippy. We're lapping with Lippy. Hey, if you guys, if there's something you need to know on that, or you, want to know, man, hit us up. I know we say this all the time, but we want to bring you what you want to hear. We don't want to bring you something that's gonna, make you yawn. So, Jeff, you had something. We still got a few minutes. What did you have? What did you have going?
Well, you want good news or you want bad news?
Well, let's start with the bad news.
Okay. Well, I was reading through a deal the other day and was told that we might be losing the racetrack in Washington with Ufreda going away. And so I went over to her Facebook page, and this is kind of what she had to say. She says, "Now I need to put the rumors to rest. I wish I could say no, they're not, but we have made a decision last night to end the run of local racing at Ufreda Raceway Park. This was not made in haste and has been a very difficult decision. We thought we could go home and think about it again, but no. We have thought it over and tried to put our heart and soul into making the very best efforts we can to make this a great venue. It has not come to be. Our racers have gone without pay, and we're very gracious, and we thank you. But it comes a time when we do not have the cars on the track or the peoples in the stands to seriously consider deciding which way we are headed. We have awesome fans. Many of you I've seen grown up at this track. We have many loyal racers. I've seen you do the same. And we have amazing employees, plus the sponsors that have been with us from the very beginning. We thank you all. So what is in store? We still will have the Jordan Circus on June 13th, the North American Big Rigs July 9th, and motocross. We may have some specialty shows, but we will just have to wait and see where it all goes. Thank you. And I'm sorry to say this, but please, if you want to share negative thoughts, do it on your post, not on ours. This has been a very difficult time, and it's hard enough to do. Thanks, Mike and Rita.
Nice.
Wow. You know, you always hate to hear that. I know, talking to Scott Warning, there's a Route 68 where the Grands were last, was it last year? I think it was last year. They've shut the doors. So, I mean, it's an epidemic. I mean, it's
Problem is once they're shut, they're never going to open again.
That's just it. The counties just won't let it happen anymore. They're glad to see us go, so that's the bad part.
And you know, that is the shame, because I know Tri-Cities did a thing on when they had the Grand Nationals there, and they did some figuring that people that came in there, it was something like $300 to $400 per person that it brought into the community.
Yeah, I just
So
I don't get that.
You start looking at some of that stuff, and you wonder why everybody hates racetracks. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, look at Portland. They can't do nothing at Portland because next week I've got a deal. I sat down and went over to the quarter midget track, and I talked with Kyle White, and I got a bunch of names and of kids that have went through the quarter midget tracks between Elma, Yakima, Graham, Portland, Skagit, and where they're at and what they're doing now.
You know what? That's going to be a cool segment. So what we'll do next week is we'll put that on first thing. We'll get rolling with that. And lastly, I think we talked about quickly, because that was kind of on the same note. You guys think racing is losing its pizzazz? Here's what Scott Warning said. He said some of the reason why it's not as big as it used to be is the kids these days just don't. They're not car freaks like they were, right? You talk about Chevelle and Nova, a Tempest, whatever, and they don't even know what you're talking about, half of them. So I think that's where maybe we're. You know what I mean?
I think
maybe that's where we're hurting.
I think the video games have just gone in a different direction. There's just not nearly as many racing games as there is shoot 'em up, zombie, whatever else is out there games. And it's just, there's not enough racing games out there. There's not enough racing dads out there, because let's face it, we're getting to where kids are raising kids now, and they were geeks as kids, so they played plenty of video games that didn't include car racing, and their kids are playing plenty of games that don't include car racing, and parents don't get their kids out. Obviously the kids that are racing do, but other parents just don't get their kids out to venues like that, and that's part of the problem. Scott McDowell's trying to do a great thing this coming weekend with his cage kart class, the open 5-horse, he's offering to pay people's entries just to get them to come to the track and race with us, and that's a great deal. You don't get that very often, and hats off to him for trying that.
Yeah, and still can't get anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my kids grew up at the racetrack. Basically, at that point in time, I was running Woodburn, worked at Woodburn, raced at Woodburn. Later, I bought a car from Terry, was racing down at Willamette. They've been around it their whole lives, but at one time they showed a little bit of interest, but when they found out they had to do some work, they stopped. And it's nothing to do with it's. I think a lot of it is work ethic, because a lot of these kids don't understand what it takes to do it, and when they get into it, they find out, whoa, this is a lot of work. It's also a lot of money.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
There's a lot of that has truth, and I don't mean to harp on things, but just with what we're doing with our kids' classes now, where you have a first, second, and third, and then everybody else all the way down the line gets the same trophy as first, second, and third, and that's a bad sense. That's something you're building into that kid.
Participation trophy.
I get the same thing as the winner, but I don't have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly, and then that doesn't make any sense. how does that, if I came in fourth place and didn't get anything, I would try pretty dang hard to get up to third and second and first because I wanted one of those big ones. But if I'm going to get the same thing, well, why the hell do I have to try so hard?
That's a huge statement right there.
So that's one of the problems that I have with this. The other thing is my dad didn't ever race anything, but once a month he would take us to a different track to spectate, and we would watch different motorsports, and that's how I got the bug. He just took me to different places because he enjoyed racing, but he couldn't afford to race nothing. So he just took us to different tracks, and that's really where I got the love of it. And we grew up on a farm, so we were always working on something, so I was always trying to figure out how to make it go faster because I was always driving something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got the bug. But yeah, this just doesn't happen nowadays.
Yeah, and that's my introduction to racing was the high school drags at Woodburn.
Oh, yeah.
I took my car over and raced it, and that was the greatest thing going. That just got me started.
Yeah, and look what it did. It kept you off the street. It kept you, from doing bad things. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. Stop by, and if you guys haven't been members, you should get on there. It is I know I wrote it down here. Damon Sullivan's got it going on.
Oh, yeah. The guy out of California?
Yeah, and I put a post on my Facebook page, and of course I'm drawing a blank here now.
I suppose I have to get a Facebook page.
No, you don't. Well, you don't. Well, you would if you wanted to see it, but it's Mockingbird Honor Roll program, and they've got kids in there that are racing. And the post today was one of the kids was all from confused to a straight A student. All because she's been involved in the racing deal there at Rocky Mountain Speedway there, and so it's a good thing. Those of you out there that are on there, stop by that Mockingbird, their Facebook page. It's really cool. Read it, become a member. I mean, you're not going to have to do anything, but just follow it because it is. It gives them tools that they're going to use for the rest of their lives. I mean, I couldn't read a tape measure when I first started. Right? I'd say, oh yeah, it's the third hash mark past the middle big one. Right? So, but when you have to learn it and it's in a fun environment, you're going to learn it. So
there's so much of that crossover that happens in the in the racing world. Kids today never experience.
And Scott Keeney, what did he say? Most of the schools have taken shop classes away, and that's 100% right. So
yeah, I like what Scott Warning has to say. That's classic right there.
Yeah, I just kind of refuse to grow up. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, yeah, I'm all over that.
I got a Corvette sitting in my garage, and when it comes out, my right foot likes to go a little bit farther down, and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And there's nothing wrong with enjoying it. I mean, really, is there?
No. Done recreationally, I think it's just fine.
Absolutely. Well, hey, all of those of you who are going to Spokane this weekend for the Northwest Gold Cup, good luck.
Absolutely.
I know the Clarks are going, so good luck to Becca. Hope she does well, and hope Mikey's out of his cast. I don't know if he is or not, but
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. So, and then those of you that are coming this weekend, remember what it is. It is Memorial Day, and we're celebrating the great men and women that allow us to get to go do this every weekend and put on this show and all the other great things, but. Just keep that in mind when you come there, too. I mean, come to race hard, but just remember what we're all there for. And, don't get Lippy mad because he's tough on the show when he's after a hard weekend, So
yeah, I'm already on my end of my rope. So
Ricky Worley, you're going to Spokane. Ricky Worley's been owning the PRD series, so it's going to be interesting to see. He may win. I'm going to go on a limb here and say he's going to win all of them.
Go get him.
He's going to go undefeated. So there you have it. You heard it here first on the Northwest Race Report. Next week we got the GM from Evergreen coming on, Chris Cunningham. He's going to be chit-chatting. And then Lippy, you're going to be segment number 3 on tires?
Yes, number 3, I'll be going into my home care and what you should be doing between races to keep your tires where you want them.
And then, Jeff, you're going to be going, we're going to find out who started where and what they're up to now, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
And we got a big race weekend coming up, not only at ORV, but there's several other.
Oh, yeah, we got South Sound, we got Elma, we got Skagit.
Yep. And there's a big one, nothing back east until they got the big one coming up July 9th and 10th, Stony Brook Speedway. And it's going to be a quarter-point race, the Keystone Regionals. And so it's going to be the east versus west kind of shootout thing. It's going to be really a good deal, but that's not till the 23rd. The 4th of June? They're at Rainier, the KT F200 Burris Series there.
I think UAS is going to be there too, right?
Are they? I didn't know that. I didn't see it. Or maybe they are there. I'll have to double check my schedule. And then the 11th, everybody's back at or those that are going to show up at Albany for their summer series.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Race. That's on June 11th. So, yeah. I know we kept you guys over. Sorry about that. We could probably go 2 hours now, but, it's
that time of year.
It is that time of year, so we want to make sure we get everybody covered. But the big rigs are going to be at Willamette this weekend. Oh, man. There's that's cool stuff. God, I got my 20 sponsor tips I was going to give you too, but I'm going to save those for next week, and we'll get that rocking and rolling. So hopefully everybody down at the Big Speed 51, good luck to all of them. You got to hear from Johnny Burke, and we appreciate Stephen Gleason for being on the show, the good doctor, the PK 250 originator. That was kind of interesting, actually.
It was, definitely. Makes me want to buy one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you got anything else, Jeffrey?
No, just be safe this weekend, everybody. We want you back next week.
Yeah, that's for sure. Lip, you're ready to go?
Yeah, I'm praying for dry weather. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's enough to infuriate the Pope. You know what I mean? You plan for this, and any other weekend, it's hot and warm, and I just don't get it.
All week long, they've been calling for being dry and fairly warm, and now we're down to 52 and 60% chance of rain. So yeah. But I'll be there and I'll be ready. So come on up.
Yeah, and I know I'm looking forward to seeing DW3 and his gang, Watkins and all them, and I'm just looking to see everybody here. Every 5-horse in the Northwest, a 5-horse open, if you own it, you better be there. I mean, it's crazy. You're going to get your way paid. I mean, that you guys should be lining up out the gate to get in for a free race. I mean,
it only costs you $5 to get in the gate, and Scott's going to handle your race entry after that. So,
I mean, where else are you going to go to get that? You're not going to go anywhere and get that. Nowhere. I mean, shoot. And ORV, you guys are. I'm telling you, you are missing it. It's a great facility, and they've done a ton of work to it. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I mean. You can check it out. I'll have all the live coverage if we go live. Hopefully we
will.
They said it was shower, so we're gonna be all good.
It's just gonna water the track.
Yeah. So Lippy will be in and out, I'm sure, with us. But hopefully, if Jeff's there, I'll have him on, and we'll be calling the race and doing some fun stuff. And yeah, I got Phil Fowl coming up. He may be staying the weekend. Staying here. So we were thinking maybe Friday about doing a show and having him on, just let him talk about, believe this or not, his 60 years in the sport.
Oh my God, you're going to burn up my data on that one.
So it could be an epic show. I'll put something up if we're going to do that and if he's feeling up to it. But I mean, he's almost 70 years old. He's still out there getting in the cart, driving around. But I mean, the stories he's got and what he's seen, and whatever, it's really fascinating. So
I want to ask him about the Vespa shop.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be epic when we get him on here. So I'll let you know. Hopefully, I know it's pretty late for all those guys back there, but maybe we can start rolling something at the track and have something cool there. So anyway, you guys, sounds good. Sean Carr in the house. Thanks for tuning in, Sean Carr. Dan Watkins, great show, guys. Ricky Worley, thank you so much, you guys. We work hard at it. There's just so much to get in. I mean, I think we probably, or I could do a better job of maybe breaking it down. We need a producer. That's what we need, is somebody to come in here and produce the show. So if anybody wants to maybe be a part of this and wants to be a producer, help keep us on track and rolling, we're open. We're open for suggestions. Sean Holbert, Sean in the dirt. What's going on, buddy? I got your T-shirt, man. Are you going to be at ORV this weekend? Hopefully you will be, and we'll get you. I've got your shirt here, so I'll get that. I'll get that to you.
I thought we took it to him up at that indoor kart.
We
race.
were supposed to, but yours truly. I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on.
We need to bring one for Kravitz too.
Oh, that's right, Kravitz. Yeah, that's right. Okay,
We'll bring the box.
Yep. So, yeah. And if anybody knows a good T-shirt maker that can do them, I need, well, not cheap. I'm going to use the word inexpensive. Let me know. Hit me up on Facebook or something, and I need to get, we need to get some more in the seat.
We should get a hold of Teresa Kirkham. We can talk about that off the air, though.
Okay, good deal. All right, guys. Man, so this weekend, I hope everybody drives safe on the way over if you're going to ORV.
Make it there before 9 o'clock because the gate will be locked.
So there was no coming in at midnight. You're going to have to sleep right outside the gate?
You will have to sleep outside the gate. It will be locked.
All right, so 9 o'clock is the curfew.
All weekend.
All weekend. Yeah. And then we're going to have monster classes. UAS on Saturday. Are the UAS running on Sunday too?
They can if they want, but the premiere is going to be on Saturday. And the reason we broke it up is just because the club is so light this weekend on help.
Right.
So
that'll be cool. And then the Burris KTF 200 Summer Shootout. One time Shane Smith, Chris Passanante, Brent Meyer, Glenn Lippy Tower, Rusty Rossmeyer. That's going to be a knockdown, drag out, barn burning. You know what?
It's the one race I'm not missing this weekend. It's probably the only one I'll race.
Really?
Yes.
Well, so stay tuned. We'll have it live on the Northwest Race Report for you. That's going to be a shootout, the KTF 200, man. It's going to be good stuff. And then Ronnie Cox going to Eric Stansberry, Ronnie Cox, Kevin Bridges. I don't know. Will we see Renee? Maybe. I don't know.
Think so.
Don't think so. That's too bad.
Singletons will be there.
Yeah, Rusty King.
Kevin
Bridges. We got who? We got White.
Yep, Kevin
D. White.
Yep.
So lots of good stuff on tap. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Lip, when when somebody's on the bottom, and this applies to life and on the racetrack. When somebody's taking the low side, what do you got to do?
Hit the high side and hit it hard.
Absolutely. We love you guys. God bless you. And good luck wherever you're racing this weekend. We'll see you next week.
God is good.